Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. I am one of your hosts, Corey Derrigan. Alongside me, as always, is the Tormentor slaying, the Strand grappling, the Death Star, the Witness's newest disciple, Josh Finney.
Oof. Yeah, we got to see about that Tormentor Slayer.
Yeah.
We'll have an update for that for you next week.
Also, you forgot your bucket helmet.
Oh my! Yeah, I stole it from a Cabal janitor. Man, Corey, we are at the time of this posting, we'll be 4 days away.
Oh, I know. I'm so excited.
4 days away. Reminder.
I'm so excited. So to Nerd Generalist and Andre's liking, Josh, I have actually started messing around with a Warlock.
Oh God,
because their Strand stuff looks cool. But we all know I'm just going to go back to the Titan and complain about my fist swords. That, my children are really into Big Hero 6 right now. And it kind of reminds me of Wasabi from Big Hero 6 with those little, arm swords. So,
That's fair. That's fair.
Anyways, that's all. Hi, Josh.
Hi, Corey.
We have a packed show. We have a lot of questions. We have a lot to talk about. We have a trailer to discuss.
We have a trailer to discuss. We have a Vanguard Ops post from yesterday. We have a very meaty TWAB, mainly because it's all about the artifact mods. Not going to dwell on that or the trailer a whole lot because we're going to have the game in 5 days.
Yeah.
4 or 5 days. So we're going to go over the mods real quickly when we get to it. What I really want to talk about tonight is just a kind of an overview of the seasons in general this year. We like to do that at the end of the year. And this is our last chance to do it. We will not get another chance until after the raid, and I don't want to be backtracking into content that's no longer available at that point. So let's just go ahead and jump right on into it, Corey. That trailer.
I know.
The trailer was wild. It was the only thing besides Baldur's Gate 3 worth watching the state of play for.
Oh, I didn't even. I know you like Baldur's Gate. I couldn't care less about Baldur's Gate.
Guys, I will be unavailable, and it is unfortunate that Baldur's Gate 3 is basically coming out the exact same day that Wrath of the Machine will be dropping if we go by previous seasons. So I may not be playing Destiny in September. It's coming out August 31st. I may be unavailable the entire month.
That's fine. We'll figure it out. Josh is going to be on hiatus doing Baldur's Gate, and we'll just bring Nerd on to talk about Destiny.
Nerd might be joining me, honestly.
Oh, God. Okay.
Man. Dude, listen, Baldur's Gate is going to consume so much of my time. But
you have to dig deep in the Tower Casuals clan or Discord or something.
There's two specific shots I want to talk about in this trailer real fast, because I don't want to dwell too much on it. Most of it is pretty clearly from the opening cinematics.
Yeah.
From the opening mission.
Yeah.
Which they're keeping a lot of the stuff on Neptune shrouded in secrecy, and that makes me really excited. But the two shots I want to discuss are we see a shot of the Witness walking through space, basically, like floating through space, and they're like, who the hell is that? And Mara's the one who said it. Looks like they're all in the helm, by the way. It looks like Zavala, Ikora.
Oh, they're in the helm, definitely looking out the front window by the table, right?
And hey, it's fine. It's finally ready to go. And Mara's the one who points out that it's the Witness.
Yeah.
And we see an image of, it looks like pyramid ships in a circle around the Traveler. It's the shot that it closes on, and the silhouette of the Witness standing in front of it. It looks exactly like Sagira's shell, which made me scream. I was like, how dare you? How dare you do this to me, Bungie? I was not prepared for this.
Yeah, I didn't see it at first, and then I think Paul Tassi tweeted it out.
I was screaming. Our friend, poor Austin Campbell, had to hear me screaming about this, and I don't think he has an idea of who Sagira is. No. But I was so excited. Between this and Baldur's Gate, it was the absolute worst time to be in a conference call with me. But we were on a Discord call, and I was just screaming about these things. I muted the state of play once they said the word Suicide Squad, just to rant for 15 minutes about these two trailers. So that's great. There's a shot of, it looks like I can't deduce if it's the Traveler or if it's the pyramids that are shooting a beam of light that looks like a fucking Death Star.
No, it's the Traveler.
So the Traveler basically turns into the
Confirmed.
Death Star, and if you freeze frame it and you see the beam hitting the pyramid ship, you can see some flowers and like vegetation forming on the side of the pyramid very quickly. That is very reminiscent of the Black Garden. So it goes
Mm-hmm.
back to the Winnower and the Gardener fable from the lore. Very important. Go back and read some of those Undying lore books, by the way. So that's kind of wild to see. It's a literal blink and you miss it. There's some more blink and you miss it of like planets of the Sol system flying by.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other shot that really caught my eye is it's towards the beginning. During the space battle, Amanda Holliday looks like she may be getting blown up.
Yeah, a little worried about our pal.
Which brings us to our first question tonight.
Oh boy, first question.
I'm putting these in
Gritty.
here tonight because we simply have too many to get through. And of course, our first question has to come from the one, the only, our beloved Discord overlord and community manager, nerd generalist. Do we lose a supporting character in Lightfall? And if so, who? Amanda Holliday, your time is up. And I have evidence for why your time is up.
Yeah, I mean, this trailer clearly shows that she's like,
She's going to be in
going
some
down.
distress. She's going to go through some shit.
Yeah, it's not going to be good for AH here for for a day or two.
It looks like she's donezo's here. We also have been getting told by Bungie for like a month and a half, hey, go claim all your shit that's sitting at Amanda, by the way. Go claim everything. If you don't claim it, it's gone. Don't let it disappear. Go get it.
Yeah, like your Twitch drops and stuff, better go.
All your Twitch drops. So it's like, if she's not it, who becomes the new is Hawthorne just going to be the Twitch drop vendor if she dies? I mean, Hawthorne's not doing anything else. So.
I mean, the Cryptarch also. I mean, the Cryptarch literally has everything now. So.
They're just going to give it to Tess again.
Oh God,
they're going to pull a year one on us.
I mean, maybe if they want to get people to go to Eververse to buy stuff, I mean, you might as well go to Tess. It's one less stop, I mean, it makes a business sense, I guess. Not that we want that, but it could happen.
So I have to ask this question. I'm looking at this while we're talking about this because I don't know if my hunch is correct in this, that she dies. Maybe she just gets shot down or whatever. Maybe she's just not in the tower anymore. But I saw people talking about in the Discord today saying that, well, Amanda's part of the Season of Defiance cast. How big is this fucking cast? Because we already know that Mara's in it from the promo artwork, right? She's literally in the key art. We've been told by people who have played the season, specifically over at Fanbyte, that it features Mithrax, Devrim, and Petra.
Right.
And now the people were saying Crow and Amanda are in it. So how many more people are going to be in this?
I mean, this is the last hurrah, though, right? I mean,
well, so it's in. So the evidence comes from the Vidoc, apparently, that you can see a shot of Crow with Amanda Holliday. So unless they pull a fast one on us and it's like leading into that opening cinematic, like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm very curious to see what they do, because her voice actress is the same one who does Keitel, I believe, Courtney Taylor.
Yeah.
So why would you kill her off? ? But I guess that would be a way to kill off a longtime character, and it also being someone that does not affect the plot at all.
She's so non-consequential, though, really, in the grand scheme of things. I feel like that would be such a, oh darn, the person that gives me my Twitch drops is gone. I mean, the last time she had any importance, I mean, in the lore, Kate and her and Crow all have history together, but that's not significant to the plot now at this point.
No, it's not.
So I don't know. And if it's the same voice actor that already plays someone else, who cares? I guess. I don't know. I feel like if you want it to mean something, you got to kill off somebody that's bigger than her.
I do feel that we are approaching the end of Ikora. For a serious answer, I mean, I think Amanda, just based off the trailer that we got today,
Yeah.
And my joking evidence, but like in all seriousness, I do think that Ikora would be the character that would actually get the fan base upset.
Yeah.
Um, it feels like we've kind of stalled out on what you can do with her as a character. Like we're getting to that point because yes, she quote leads the investigation in Witch Queen, but it's really Eris and Mara who direct us to the final solution, to the final answer.
Yeah, but they
Um,
just recast her, and I feel like if they were gonna kill her off, they would have recast her for like a year or a season, I guess.
I don't
Right?
know. I honestly, I genuinely like have no idea at this point. Um,
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know. I
so
I don't
something
know.
else that we've seen is that Lance Reddick, supposedly like from some of the leaks that were floating around, some of the fake paste bins and stuff. I have no idea if it's real or not, but I saw it tweeted enough times over the last couple months that apparently Lance Reddick got like really emotional doing some of the dialogue for this next season.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think that Zavala. I think if Zavala goes, it's in final shape. I think so. I
Yeah,
think I think our favorite blue boy is safe. They just here's the other thing. They just did upgrades to his vendor.
I know.
So he's safe, if only for that reason. Ikora, on the other hand, other than the new light stuff, doesn't have anything. You could replace her role in the tower with Crow. Just saying. Just saying. For the new lights.
Yeah.
Um
I wonder man, I'm wondering how much longer the tower's gonna be around for
Honestly,
like
dude, if the greatest surprise to me would be if they brought us back in Lightfall and the tower was gone.
oh my gosh, that'd be
I
so
would be so relieved, Corey.
I mean, it honestly seems like the helm is gonna be where we're at, right? I mean, they've already sent it to
Yeah.
space. Now we're going to Neptune, right?
I think it helps manage like player load times also by having a smaller area to go to with only your fire team.
Right.
I think that probably helps the server load a little bit. I don't know. I'm armchair developing, but irregardless, let's swing back to this trailer. Let's swing back to this trailer. Do we have anything else? Any other thoughts? We've got the gist of it. You're
Yeah,
invading
I mean,
Neptune. We get it.
I think the trailer was cool. I like that they're all on the helm together.
Yeah.
I like seeing all the characters together.
Well, it's like that scene that we saw in Witch Queen's campaign where it was like, oh
Mhm.
shit, it's like our Avengers moment. Like everyone's in
Yeah.
Zavala's office, and it was everyone that like mattered in the seasons.
Yeah.
That was a really cool little twist. We talk about scenes we love in the with the cast together. The one from Season of the Seraph in Zavala's office, where even though Keitel and Mithrax don't talk, them still being there is an important enough scene.
Yeah.
Like we have a united front between humanity, Awoken, the Elixni, and the Cabal right now. The
Yeah.
Cabal defectors. I give me a Vex Goblin controlled by Asher Mir. It's all we need now, Bungie. Come on.
That would be
Oh
cool. That would be cool if you could have companions at some point like that. Um, I think that would be
yeah.
super cool.
Mm,
I like having a companion,
I'm
especially
I'm
if you
I'm
play by
still out
yourself.
on it. I'm still out on it.
I think especially if you play by yourself and maybe you
Yeah.
deactivate them in raids and stuff, but like I think it would be super cool to have a companion to run through the campaign with or something. I don't know. Also, I have one question about this
Yes.
trailer
Yes.
before we move on. That scene, and it's been in other trailers before too, but I kind of just it really hit me today. Osiris is looking upon Neomuna, right? And he
Mhm.
turns around. Are his eyes red, or is that just his helmet getting glare?
I think that's just his helmet.
Because I'm rewatching the trailer now, and like he turns so fast that I just can't tell.
I genuinely think like because if you do possession again with him, that's the most recycled ass story beat I can think of.
Yeah.
Like he just spent a full year possessed. I get that we brought him back with Nesquik, but still. Like, come on, we got to stop this bullshit of Osiris. It also like from other images and trailers that we've seen, it really looks like he's a vendor on Neomuna.
Yeah. I really
So
like the Cloud Striders, by the way. I think Ronan looks awesome.
I yeah, dude. What was it? Nerd Generalist was like, friendship with the Traveler ended. Friendship with Ronan has begun.
Yeah. Also,
I laughed heartily.
also, there's a scene in this trailer that we didn't address either. of it's the OG Titan flying in on a ship, but then you just see the ghost separate into like 7 or 8 pieces.
Oh my god, I can't believe. Yeah. So somebody was like, "Oh my god, is our ghost getting Thanos?" And I was like, honestly, like if they took away Ghost for most of the campaign and we had to like do it with a Puka, that would be kind of dope. Because like I do it, every
I'm
trailer seems to show a scene where our character gets the void light sucked out of them
yeah.
by a tormentor. I'm almost wondering if they make us do at least a handful of missions with only Strand and Stasis.
I'm wondering, I'm starting to wonder if at the end of whatever all this happens to end, if the ghosts are just going to go away, if the traveler is going to explode and the light really doesn't exist in the way we know it anymore. Like, what's the purpose of the ghost? You know?
Yeah, I'm a little curious too to see what's going to happen. Either way, this campaign clearly has some massive consequences. Their whole tagline has been "Our end begins." And remember,
Yeah.
Lightfall was originally supposed to be the final installment,
Right.
and then they split it in two because it was just too much story. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens here.
I'm
See how badly we get our asses beat this time.
My biggest question is if these seasons, if the final shape campaign is the final story element, or if there's 4 seasons after that that
I mean,
continue.
there's going to be seasons after. I
Well,
think it's a
I know
question of
that.
is it
I
going to be 4 seasons or is it going to be 2 expansion passes?
Yeah. Oh, man.
Um, oh yeah, you ready for Curse of Osiris 2, Electric Boogaloo?
Mm, no.
But Corey, we have a lot of other things we have to talk
I
about
know.
tonight.
This
We
trailer was
have
cool, though.
we got a Vanguard Ops
Yeah.
post yesterday. Well, really, it's not just about Vanguard Ops. It's about some updates to some rewards and bringing the challenge back to Destiny is what it's called.
Mhm.
Um, I'm not going to read a lot of this. There is a lot here. We're going to talk about some basic changes here. Some more intricate stuff. Y'all can come and read them if you want to read bullet points, just for the sake of time. But currently in the game, we use an acute burn in Nightfalls and other high difficulty activities. This is a specific element buff debuff that adds plus 25% damage from your Guardian and plus 50% damage to your Guardian. Trust me, I am intimately aware because of all the Vex lasers that have killed me in Warden of Nothing this week.
Vex lasers,
Vex
everybody.
lasers, those count as solar, apparently. That's a lot of fun. In Season 20, Acute Burn is being replaced with Surge, Threat, and Overcharge. Surge is 2 different elements, either of which gives you plus 25% damage, and if you are using a Surging subclass, plus 25% kinetic. That's going to be really fun. It's more
Yeah.
incentive to line up your subclasses. Threat, plus 25% damage to your Guardian from a specific element. That's 25 less than now. Thank you. And Overcharge, 1 or 2 weapon types per activity, as well as any selectable anti-champion and other perks also make those weapons overcharged. An overcharged weapon can ignore the Surge element and still get the plus 25% damage bonus. So prior to Season 20, if you wanted that plus 25% bonus, your only option was to match the damage type defined by the strike. And given that match game was present in Legend and above, we were often requiring element flexibility to deal with shields. In Season 20, you can match one of 2 damage types or pick from a wide variety of specific weapons based on artifact perks. Additionally, if your subclass is surging, any kinetic weapons automatically get the 25% bonus no matter what type it is. And without match game, you are free to be much more flexible with the elements of your weapons, even running monocolor builds to maximize damage bonuses. Thank you, God. Match game is legitimately the worst. It was so telling that the entire community was making memes about it
Right.
when it was the end. I think my favorite one was the Grant Gustin meme where he's posing over Oliver Queen's grave.
Yeah. Those memes
And
are always
it was
funny.
showing like match game on it.
Yeah.
That's great. It's great. Strikes have scoring again. Yeah.
Yay!
Strikes, the high scores strike back. So first off, we have strike refreshes, right? Arms Dealer and Lake of Shadows are getting totally revamped with new enemies, new encounters, new mechanics, and new objectives. Expect them to be much tougher than before and less Sparrow friendly. I don't know how I feel about that, but Arms Dealer in
Less
particular, I
Sparrow
don't know how I
friendly.
feel about that. We are working on other strikes such as Exodus Crash and Inverted Spire, and their presence has been dramatically reduced, and it will not be part of the Nightfall rotation that brought the parity. The Vanguard Ops playlist, you already know about Battlegrounds coming over. Here's a big change though. The playlist is now power disabled, like Gambit and Crucible. This means you won't have a damage advantage over enemies or them upon you, no matter your power level. I like it. I like it. That is, I think, much more encouraging for people who have stepped out of the game or who are like intimidated by power levels to just come in. This is clearly setting the scene for the game to be unpower level capped by Final Shape.
Yeah,
this was kind of the final
the
piece of
that.
This and Trials, I feel, were kind of the final pieces of that puzzle, and them making Grandmasters more accessible as long as you're at the soft cap.
Yeah.
There will be. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't.
I was gonna say, I think power levels are starting to get ridiculous, especially with like masterworking and the artifacts and just different mods. Now it's just like
I would agree. It feels a little silly, especially with all the changes that are coming, for us to still be using such an antiquated system.
Yeah, it feels like the player level, and before they took that out, right, where it's just like this this gatekeeping kind of obsolete way.
Yeah, I remember trying to get to level 30 in vanilla.
Just don't.
Daily rotators and weekly singes have been removed and replaced with one weekly singe, one random daily threat, one daily random modifier from our best of collection, including subtle foes, lightning crystals, and more. So we'll see how that goes. Vanguard Ops scoring. We are adding scoring to Vanguard Ops playlist. You'll earn points for killing enemies and other events, precision kills, picking up orbs, reviving teammates, etc., with a multiplier based on the specific strike. The higher your score, the larger your rank multiplier will be. The multiplier, one-time multiplier on Vanguard rank earn for getting below 30,000 points. Multiplier increases every 5,000 points after the initial 30,000. The largest available is 7 times. This applies to all Vanguard modes, including Nightfalls. Vanguard challenges are being adjusted to reflect these changes.
Ooh.
Complete Vanguard activities with a surging subclass for the weekly challenge. We have seasonal surges for Nightfalls or Vanguard Ops weekly surge. Complete 5 activities. You get increased progress for harder difficulties. A single Grandmaster Nightfall will complete this challenge. I think that's fair. That's fair. They want you to spend a little bit more time in these these essential ones. I don't think asking you to do 5 activities is the end of the world.
Right.
Nightfalls are dark and full of terrors. I love a good Game of Thrones reference. We already know Battlegrounds are going to become in the Nightfall playlist. Nightfalls, though. 2 surges available. Threats dependent on the featured Nightfall. 1 featured overcharged weapon. Combatants are harder to stagger and have more health. The power levels for Season 20 for Hero will be 1770, Legend 1830, Master and Grandmaster 1840.
Ooh.
The power disadvantages. There are power disadvantages on every level now. Hero is -5, Legend -15, Master -20, and Grandmaster -25. Maximum effectiveness targets for each of these. Hero 1765, Legend 1815, Grandmaster 1815, and Master 1820. The Nightfall Weekly Challenge now requires you to attain 200,000 points across multiple Nightfall runs, rather than the 100,000 points in a single run. Thank fucking God. I cannot tell you how many of these, even on Legend, were slightly ridiculous trying to hit that 100K.
Right.
It got completely silly. Master raids and dungeons are also getting the power delta adjustment. 1 overcharged weapon, 2 surges, no threat modifier. Combatants do not have increased health or increased stagger resistance. They want to bring these in line with other master experiences without the need to build craft towards surges or overcharges. We all in master raids, we've also tuned enemy health pools so you can, if you completely ignore elemental build crafting, you'll experience day 1 raid-like combat difficulty. After that, you can choose elemental or overcharge bonuses to make it easier. Additionally, the threat modifier is turned off in raids and dungeons, so enemies won't be doing more damage than on day 1. That's fucking wild. But again, these are changes that the community has wanted. Just give us permanent contest mode now.
Right.
Here's my favorite. No activity left behind. Can you guess which activity got left behind here, Corey?
Gambit.
Fucking Gambit. I don't know why we expected it in a Vanguard post, but here we are.
Well, it's sort of. He hangs out in the tower.
Lost sectors are definitely getting an overhaul. Combatants will be harder to stagger and have more health in lost sectors now. for the for Lost Sectors. About available in Legend and Master difficulties, Lost Sectors feature plus 20 combat delta rather than minus 15 or minus 20.
Yay.
We will be monitoring completion rates and times during Season 20 to see if exotic Ingram drop rates need to be adjusted. Spoiler alert, they do. There will be additional paths to acquiring Lightfall exotic armor that you can discover on the 28th of February. Can I get the stuff I've been trying to get for a year first?
Nope.
Can I just
They're
log
just
in
gonna
and
make
have
you mad
Gear
about
Falcons? Can I have Gear Falcons just waiting for me?
I mean,
Please.
they did give us Caress of the Falling Star at the beginning of
That was still
Wonder.
like a year and a half later.
I know, but they did give it
There
to us.
need to be paths to get these. Like, there are legitimately things that came out in Chosen, like Falling Star, that you still can only get through Legend Lost Sectors. And let me tell you something, when you do like 20 or 30 of these suckers without getting the thing you're trying to get dropped, it's really aggravating. Like,
I
there
know.
needs to be let me use my spoils or something at the end. I don't know.
Yeah.
There needs to be something to get a guarantee.
What if there's a Lost Sector currency that you could get if you run Lost Sectors?
I'd fucking scream. I don't want any more currencies in this game. Just
no,
up
but
up the spoils of conquest.
Well,
the spoils of conquest and just let me use them here. Problem solved.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, make it to where I only get 3 per legend completion, or you can only earn a certain amount from Lost Sectors in a week or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, put some sort of cap on it so it doesn't like make everything artificial. But there's gotta be something.
Yeah.
There's gotta be something.
Agree.
Like, if you run 3 Legend Lost Sectors in a day, you're guaranteed an exotic Ingram that has that particular thing in it. So, like, if it's chest day, you're guaranteed an exotic chest Ingram. I don't know. There's got to be a better way for this. Like, there's no excuse for exotics that came into the game 2 years ago to not be sold through Xur or to be in the loot pool anymore. There's zero excuse.
Yeah.
Anything that came out in the era Beyond Light should be accessible now.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So that's my spiel and my rant. Like, Lost Sectors desperately need some love, and this is going to help a little bit, but they're gonna need some more love. They're upping the difficulties on Nightmare, Empire Hunts, and Campaign weekly missions. I think it's hilarious. -5, -15, and -20 power levels, respectively, for Hero, Legend, and Master. Again, overcharged, weekly surges, etc. Dares of Eternity and Wellspring are getting this also. 2 terrible activities are also getting hit with this.
Nice.
2 rotating overcharged weapons, weekly rotating surge, 1 threat. Combatants are harder to stagger and have more health. And so, okay, so this is in Legend and Master difficulty in Dares and Wellspring, respectfully. Extinguish has been turned on for Master Wellspring, by the way. Good luck with that one.
Yeah.
I think it was already a thing, though, because I'm pretty sure when I did my Master Wellspring runs for my Gumshoe Seal, I'm pretty sure we wiped and went back to orbit.
Yeah.
I'm pretty certain it's already been there. And teams can now wipe on a time limit if an objective has failed. Seasonal Battlegrounds, going to be the same thing it was this season. It will be the same weekly surge as the Vanguard Ops playlist. Rotating threats, no overcharged weapons. Combatants have reduced health scaling and regular stagger resistance. Whew. We're almost done with this post. Now we got to talk about rewards, because there's just not a whole lot of things. A funny thing happens when you work 6 months ahead and also need to write blog posts. Sometimes you miss some of the elements to help with player understanding. Rewards is one of these. We did a balance pass on Nightfall and Lost Sector rewards. Starting with Lightfall, the new material reward structure looks like this. Hero Nightfall. 1 enhancement prism and a medium chance at 1 more. 2 enhancement cores and a medium chance of 1 more. Legend Nightfalls, small chance of 1 Ascendant Shard. 2 enhancement prisms and a medium chance of up to 2 more. Master Nightfalls, 1 Ascendant Shard and a small chance of 1 more. 2 enhancement prisms and a medium chance of up to 2 more. And Grandmaster Nightfalls, 1 Ascendant Shard and a high chance of 1 more. 4 enhancement prisms and a medium chance of up to 2 more. They're going to get really generous with these things. I'm going to need them to start letting me carry more than 10 and 50, respectfully.
Yeah.
If you're going to be this generous with them. And then Lost Sectors have also gotten a similar pass. 2 enhancement cores, medium chance of 1 more, and 1 enhancement prism and a small chance of 1 more for Legend Lost Sectors. And then Master is 2 cores, chance at one more, and 1 prism and a chance at 1 more. Fine by me. Whatever. Nothing about exotic armor. I need you guys to up the exotic armor drops. That's the problem. Nobody's playing this thing. Oh, I'm not getting enough cores. No! Where is my exotic armor at? It's unbelievable. This is absolutely unbelievable. I don't think there's really much else to say in terms of difficulty. It's all pretty self-explanatory. If you're confused by the wording, I know it's a lot of reciting off the same thing. Go read the blog post. This is one of the ones where I really encourage you, just go read it. If you're having trouble understanding this, it took me a pass or two to be like, well, what the hell? But I don't think it's actually that different from what we have now. It's a lot of words to say, not much is changing in terms of difficulty. We bumped the difficulty up a little bit, and we changed the way you're going to interact with a couple of weapons on harder difficulties. The end.
Yeah. I do have to say, though, Josh, the other day, speaking of exotic armor,
yes,
I got the most worthless Helm of St. 14 I've ever received. Not that I need one, but like...
Oh, yeah?
So, it was a natural roll 69 Helm of St. 14.
I mean, I would keep that just for, meme purposes.
I kept it, but it had, it had 30 in mobility.
Oh, yeah, for a Titan, that is pretty useless.
And what was the other? I think it was grenades. It had like 19 or something. But it was but I was like, if this was strength and recovery, I would have kept it in a heartbeat. But like now, it's just sitting in my vault.
That's fair. That's like a dream stat roll for a hunter, though. I feel.
Yeah. But Helm of St. 14 that's used in a bubble and you're stationary, what the hell do you need 30 mobility for?
That is a good question. You know what else is good, Corey?
What's good, Josh? Tell me things.
Some of these crucible changes that we're getting next season in the TWAB.
Ooh. Tell me about the crucible changes, Josh. Tell me more.
Yeah, I'm ready to talk about these crucible changes.
Does he have a car?
Quality of life change is coming in season 20. He has a car. It's I don't know if it's going to be a good ride, but it's going to be a little bumpy. Placement changes. You can now place in Platinum Division after your initial placement series if you were Adept or Ascendant in the previous season. Ooh. So for our friend Dealer, you get to place in Platinum right away. That should be a lot of fun for you. Because he did. Kudos to Dealer, by the way, for hitting Ascendant in comp. I want to give a shout out to him. You, my friend, are an absolute animal. Yeah. You're an absolute animal.
Yeah.
Shout out also to our friend Ray Apollo being in our voice chat last night, and Dealer immediately introducing himself, going, "Hey Ray, do you want to go flawless in trials?" And poor Ray, I think that may have almost scared him off from playing. Anymore. Mode and map weighing. We understand not everyone loves Rift and Showdown. We believe these two modes stress Crucible players in different and important ways. And a variety of kill and objective modes make for a healthier ladder. Thank you. However, we are lowering how common Rift and Showdown come up in play. While RNG can give any sequence of maps and modes, we expect Survival to show up 2/3 of the time and Rift and Showdown to split the other third. We've also adjusted the individual map weightings for Showdown to eliminate maps the mode does not play well on. We have increased the weight of Jav 4, Endless Veil, and Altar of Flame in competitive, and removed Disjunction and Cathedral of Dusk from the rotation entirely. Yay. Yes! Yes! Oh, that's my exciting. God! It's a safe place for all of us who hate those two maps. Oh, man. Here is a chunk, though, that I think you're either going to love it or hate it. I'm in the valley of I like this change because I don't typically change my exotic armor mid-match.
Yeah.
But exotic armor pieces can be just as critical to your PvP build as your weapons or subclass aspects and fragments. A popular move has always been to have a powerful neutral game exotic on during PvP while your super is building, then swap to a super enhancing exotic once your super is full, then swapping back to the neutral exotic. This tends to favor players who have higher end PCs and can get in and out of menus faster, and we generally don't want to encourage a bunch of menu gameplay during action. We also find it an uninteresting way to gain an advantage in PvP. With the prevalence of build swapping that can happen with loadouts, we thought we would squash this issue in high-end PvP. In Season 20, we are introducing the Not Swap modifier to Trials and Competitive. In activities with Not Swap, if you change your exotic armor during the match, all of your ability energy is removed, just like if you swapped your subclass. I cannot wait for the first time this happens to someone and they make an outrage post on Reddit being like, Bungie, what the fuck, fix your game. I cannot wait for that to happen because they could not read a blog. I cannot wait. I really do, like, genuinely though, I do hope that the first time you log in to go play Trials, like you select Trials or you select Comp, I hope that there is a pop-up the very first time you do it that tells you about this modifier.
Yeah.
We'll be monitoring gameplay and community discussion around the issue. We are not currently planning on adding it to Gambit or other Crucible playlists. Good. I don't think it needs to be. I think in those two high-end modes, it needs to be there. I'm totally okay with that. Please do not put this in Iron Banner.
Yeah.
Please don't put it in Iron Banner. I can see like that you might want to because that's supposed to be a pinnacle experience for everyone.
Yeah.
But I think it's a little silly to do it there. Gambit, I could see the argument for adding it. Because I do think that it's probably an issue there as well, but
yeah,
who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
We're also not planning on adding it to any PvE modes. Anywhere it might provide a meaningful advantage already has equipment locked. Also good. Also good. I don't think you can't do it during a raid. There's no way.
No.
There's no way. And like they say, Legend and above Nightfalls already have that with equipment locked. Master and Legend Lost sectors already have equipment locked. Legend Battlegrounds have equipment locked. Yeah, there's plenty. More details to come in a Crucible blog next season. Until then, go make Shaxx proud and get ready to build and save your perfect PvP loadout next week. Can I just say, as an addendum to all this Crucible stuff, initially they said a Crucible blog post coming soon, and people were freaking out going, oh, thank God, we're getting a Crucible post in like the next couple of weeks. Bungie's comms team had to immediately come out and say, yeah, no, that was a mistake. You're not getting it till next season.
Mm-hmm.
To go effectively radio silent on PvP until May is just at least May, more likely June.
Yeah,
is highly because you have to think, does next season mean this coming season or does it mean the season after? I'm taking it to mean the season after since we're 5 days away from a new season.
Yeah, I would say next season.
That's highly disappointing.
Maybe they'll surprise us. Maybe it'll come.
I would like to be surprised, but it's pretty. I mean, that's the only other thing you could really be working on right now is PvP, right? We have some quality of life stuff to talk about on the PlayStation blog. I completely forgot about that as well that we're going to get to, but let's talk about the big kahuna here.
Let's do it.
And that is the passive artifact. Of course, as a reminder, you get 12 artifact unlocks now. They are all passive, meaning you do not have to slot them anymore, which is just massively, massively helpful. To accommodate these changes, Artifice Armor now has a unique mod slot that grants 3 additional points to a character stat of your choice. This is retroactive to all Artifice Armor. So if you got it all the way back in Grasp of Avarice like I did, congratulations, your Artifice Armor will work going forward.
Yay.
You can reset the artifact at no cost any amount of times. I assume once you've hit all 12 perks. Very interested to see how that is. I really hope that you unlock the artifact mods just as quickly as you can now if you unlock 12. If not a little bit faster with how important they're going to be to build crafting. One other thing here that I really, really like. The anti-champion weapons featured on the artifact can also be overcharged in higher difficulty activities. That one caught my eye because that's actually going to be really, really useful.
Yeah.
Sorry, my computer is like freaking out right now.
That's fine.
I was trying to find the definition of overcharged. Overcharged weapon, as a reminder, deals 25% more damage. So if you're gonna be able to increase that, that is very exciting.
That would be nice.
Very exciting. And as a reminder, that also works with kinetic weapons. So yeah, it's gonna be a little spicy. Some of the mods coming. Let's talk about this. The Ascendant Scepter is the name of the artifact. That's kind of bitchin'.
It's kind of a cool.
Can I wield the Ascendant Scepter? Can I get the Hammer of Proving finally?
Can we just get like cool big, like?
There's no reason you can't give me a scepter. I have a glaive already. How
Yeah.
different is a scepter from a glaive, really?
I
I'm
mean,
going
I don't think
stab
it
no
is.
matter
It
what.
might be one-handed instead of two-handed.
I
That's
mean, I'm okay with that.
yeah.
Let me have that in a sidearm at the same time.
Have you heard of dual wielding?
I have. I have played the critically acclaimed masterpiece from Bungie Studios, Halo 2.
Man, dual wielding. Remember how big
Column
of a
one
deal that was?
column one on the artifact mod, of course, is all of our anti-champion weapons. We have anti-barrier sidearm and anti-barrier pulse rifle. We have overload bows. We have automatics overload, which is your auto rifles and your SMGs. And then you have unstoppable scout rifle. Very excited for all. I think those are all great choices. All great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great across the board. Overload, auto rifle, and SMG a second season in a row kind of gives me like a bit of hesitation because it can be a little finicky. But you know, we'll see how it goes. The second column, we have a new thing called authorized mods. So we have solar, strand, void, and grenades here. And the definition for these are the armor energy costs of all armor mods affecting solar weapons, strand weapons, void weapons, or grenades, respectfully, for those four, are significantly discounted. So that's going to play into build crafting big time. Big time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then multi-siphon mods grants access to armor mods in your helmet that combine the effects of the strand siphon mod with the solar siphon and void siphon mods.
Ooh.
So that could be a little juicy.
That sounds spicy.
Yeah, interested to see how that goes. Column 3. Shatter orbs. The first time you break a combatant shield, you create an orb of power if you break the shield with the matching damage type. That's going to be huge for Grandmasters in that day one raid. This will be a key part of my build. I'm absolutely never taking this off until they take it away at the end of the season, of course.
Yeah. Sounds.
Defiant Armory greatly improves the benefits provided by Noble Deeds, Nanotech Tracer Rockets, Tech's Balanced Stock, and Ambush Origin traits. Untangler. Destroying a tangle with a strand weapon suspends targets damaged by the explosion. Solar Surge. Collecting a fire spike gives you armor charge. And Volatile Flow. Picking up an orb of power grants your void weapons volatile rounds. Hello, my old friend.
Ooh.
It has been too long. I'm very excited.
Oh man, I was going through my vault the other day. I found a scout rifle with volatile rounds. I was like, oh, neat. I forgot I had this.
Oh man, I remember when I was saving everything that had adaptive munitions on it. Column 4. This is where they get these are usually where they get a little juicy, right?
All right.
Bricks from Beyond. Defeating a powerful combatant with a void weapon has a chance to generate heavy ammo for you and your teammates. Flare Up. Firebolt grenades apply more scorch stacks. Damaging a combatant with a firebolt grenade spawns a fire spike near them. Origin Hones. Weapons with the Noble Deeds, Nano Tracing Rockets. Tech's Balance Stock and Ambush Origin traits are always overcharged when that modifier is active. Allied Unraveling. Rapid final blows with the strain weapon grant your weapon unraveling rounds with a longer duration near allies. And Counterweave. When you or a member of your fire team stuns or defeats a champion, you gain energy for your least charged strand ability. I think they really want us to use strand, Corey.
Yeah, I think they I don't know. I think they might.
And then, of course, the final column. We have Stranded Reach. Destroying a tangle with a strand weapon creates a larger and more damaging explosion. I'm very curious to see how this goes. I wanna play around with this because this does not require the subclass to be on.
Right.
Rain of Firebolts. When you have firebolt grenades equipped, gain a second grenade charge. They're really pushing firebolt grenades.
Yeah.
Void weapons channeling. You gain a temporary bonus to void weapon damage after you defeat a target with a void weapon while at least one of your void abilities is fully charged. This damage bonus increases based on the number of fully charged void abilities that you have. I do wonder if this will work with the Hunter's Invis dodge. If it does, this is super broken.
Yeah.
I really want to know because this with Omnioculus could be wild.
Sounds.
I'm very excited for this. Here we go. We all know how much I love glaives here. This is a mod that I think, just from looking at it right away, is made for myself and A1 Johnny. Medieval Champion. Glaives you wield fire a powerful explosive payload that stuns unshielded champions, strong
Mm,
against unstoppable champions. Additionally, glaives are always overcharged when that modifier is active. Landing consecutive hits with a sword disrupts combatants, stunning them, delaying an ability energy regeneration, and lowering combatant damage output. Strong against overload champions. Additionally, swords are always overcharged when that modifier is active. Never taking it off. Never taking it off, boys and girls. Never. It's
yeah,
never happening.
that sounds so cool.
I have three crafted glaives sitting in my inventory ready to go for the Lightfall campaign. It is a race to unlock this as quickly as possible for me.
Ooh, that sounds
Here
so
we
good.
go. And here is what I like. This is also going to be one that I think everybody will be running on day one. Prismatic Transfer. When you cast your super, each member of your fire team with a subclass damage type different than yours gains a bonus to weapon damage.
Ooh.
How many people are going to be told we need you to sacrifice your DPS to run Fists of Havoc so that the rest of us can get bonuses to our damage? Or
I
only
mean,
one person is allowed to be on Void, or so. Like the Bubble Titan is all that's allowed to be on Void. All of us have to get
yeah,
off Void.
yeah, mm, that's
Well, I
fine.
mean, well also would work in that instance, I think.
Yeah,
There's a lot of very funny scenarios, I think, that we can have play out here. How many times does this stack is what I want to know. Because you could have this stack up 3 or 4 times.
yeah.
This is
Mm.
going to be, again, when we talk about the race to unlock mods, I may have to go stock up bounties this week, Corey. I wasn't planning to. I may have to get to this in Medieval Champion as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Is that still works though, right? The stacking bounty still works. That still works, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I
As long as you're not using seasonal ones, yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so if you can pick it up in the helm, it's useless.
I'm always worried about doing that because there was one season where they messed around with that and said you couldn't stack bounties, and then everybody got mad, but they still did it.
So you could stack bounties, it's just they were removing and changing up several bounties, so they basically are like your mileage may vary.
Yeah.
Um, I'm just gonna relish that this is probably the last season I'll be able to get away with storing 7 trials Ingrams on my character going into an expansion.
That's probably true.
Again, I'm running straight to the tower, and I'm buying that fucking chest piece that I missed out on from year 1.
Yeah.
Still upset that I don't have it, so I'm getting it. I'm gonna get it now. New ways to defeat champions. We talked about some of these a couple weeks ago. We now know the strand abilities that are going to play into it. So, as a reminder, how to stun champions: exotic with an anti-champion intrinsic perk such as Ariana's Vow, Divinity, or Leviathan's Breath. You can use weapons that have an anti-champion artifact perk such as Overload, Auto Overload, and Overload Bow, Anti-Barrier Sidearm, etc. You can use the following subclass verb and status effects: Barrier Champions, Radiant, Volatile Rounds, and Unraveling Rounds. So that's pretty clearly the Strand one. Overload Champions, Jolt, Suppression, and Slow. Unstop Champions, Ignite, Blind, Shatter, and Suspend.
Hmm.
These verbs work no matter how they are triggered. 2 examples. If you're Radiant because a Solar Hunter used an acrobatic dodge near you, you will shoot anti-barrier rounds until Radiant wears off. Holy shit. If you use a weapon with the Chill Clip perk, the slow effect upon direct hits will stun Overload champions, and the Shatter upon a second hit will stun Unstoppables. While Radiant, though, the same weapon would pierce a barrier champion, but not stun Overloads. They're really only going to let you use two of the 3.
Right.
Exotics with an anti-champion status effect will not get the Pierce effect when applying Radiant. One effect, Aegir Scepter, will slow and stun an Overload champion, but not pierce a barrier one even if the player is Radiant. There is an exception for weapons able to scorch since ignitions require buildup in order to stun. I think that's probably the most fair way because a couple of us were kind of wondering how Aegir's was going to be handled,
Yeah.
knowing that it was going to get some of these effects. And God bless him. One of Johnny and I's friends, Phil, was very excited for it. We might want to rein in that excitement just a tiny bit. Just a tiny bit. Not a whole lot, just a little bit.
Yeah. No, I think that's totally fair.
Totally fair. Totally fair.
Yeah.
Become Legend. Whether you're
Ooh.
solo or in a full fire team, there's no wrong way to play the Lightfall campaign. We know you all loved Legendary difficulty that debuted with Witch Queen, so we want to talk a bit how it will work in Lightfall. With the goal of balancing challenge and survivability across all fire team sizes of 1, 2, and 3, Legendary difficulty scales based on the size of your fire team. Incoming damage, damage required to stagger an enemy, enemy health, and amount of revives are a few of the things that scale on Legendary for each additional member of your fire team. In the Lightfall campaign, we reduced the health scaler on combatants to better balance solo and fire team play when compared to last year's Legendary campaign. Enemies will still have more overall health than larger fire teams, and the Cabal in general have higher base health than other combatant types, but this will help bring solo and fire team difficulty closer together. Additionally, the damage required to stagger combatants is reduced during the Lightfall campaign. So, very, very curious to see how this plays out. I think there were a few instances where the Legendary campaign was genuinely a challenge.
Yeah.
I specifically think of the room with the vestige of Riven that you fight,
Oh God.
and
Yeah.
in the Savathun fight. I
Yeah.
would also argue when you're raiding that circular prison style room.
Yeah. That was one of the biggest challenges for us when we were doing
Yeah,
it because
I
we
think
ended up
that
doing it
all
later.
three of those were pretty rough on day one.
Hmm.
In fact, I did it with Nerd Generalist and our buddy Joe Wilson, and we got all the way to Savathun on the first day, and we were fighting Savathun, and we finally had to just call it and take a break for the night and come back. We came back first thing in the morning and crushed it,
Yeah.
but we had to just take a break because we were getting so beat down in the second section
Right. Yeah. That.
of that fight. We got past the first half, and then we were just getting our asses beat from here to Sunday on that second area until we could figure out how to do it. It was doing enough damage was our problem.
Right.
And generating enough heavy. So still curious to see what our meta is going to be for damage. We still don't know.
Yeah.
Little scared.
I will be playing it on regular on day one.
I will be doing legendary.
Yeah.
There is no reality in which I don't do this legendary on my first run. I would like to do it on regular for the story, but I also am very well aware that I need as much of a jump on
Keep being raid ready
being
that
raid
first week.
ready as possible.
Yeah.
Them giving you the full set of stuff to make you raid ready right off the bat was a huge help. It
Yeah.
let me enjoy Witch Queen a little bit more last year, and it let me enjoy the seasonal stuff too, instead of putting it off until after the raid. So I
Right.
really enjoyed that. Looking forward to doing the same thing here this year. But yeah, this week, I mean, if you're listening to this and you somehow don't have Witch Queen is up for free right now for a couple of days for a free weekend on Xbox and PlayStation. It will actually cut off of Xbox 9 hours earlier than everywhere else. I presume that's because when Xbox does their daily store updates and reset is at midnight Pacific time,
Yeah.
whereas PlayStation, Steam, the Microsoft Store, and the Epic Games Store, it'll be February 27th at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is when the servers all go down.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you also have a couple of days to still claim Beyond Light from PlayStation Plus.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually need to remember to log in and do that, just in case for whatever reason I lose access to my Xbox in the future.
Also, it's worth noting that beginning the day of Lightfall, they are selling the Destiny 2 Legacy Edition, which has all three campaigns from Witch Queen, Beyond Light, and Shadowkeep.
Yes, I was going to get to that.
Oh, sorry.
But thank you. No, this was a good time to bring it up. Yes. And the Forsaken pack will be sold separately.
I just thought there's a lot of people out there that are thinking about jumping into Destiny right for the first time. And we have a lot of new listeners, so I figured that would be worth bringing up. So there you go.
I agree. So it also says here, if you want to check out the amazing legendary campaign, the Vox Obscura exotic mission, a few Wellspring runs, or try the Vow of the Disciple raid, you can. And here's something that's unique. I've never seen this for an expansion that you can try for a few days at a time. Even I think they did some Forsaken weekends and some Shadowkeep weekends in the past. They've never quite done it this way, though. All the loot you earn is yours to keep, and you don't have to download any additional content. The Witch Queen Standard Edition will just unlock on your installed game. So, because it's just a key.
Yeah.
It's just a key is all it is.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Similar situation with Beyond Light, since this expansion is still available for free to PlayStation Plus subscribers. Go fight House Salvation and Aramis while traveling across Europa, just in time before Strand launches with Lightfall. Just remember to redeem Beyond Light before March 6th. You have until March 6th to do this.
Mhm.
I will actually be doing mine right after we get off this recording because I keep forgetting to get it. We already reminded you about Prime Gaming rewards. Those are all getting yeeted out of here if you don't claim them by Monday. The 24-hour downtime, of course, starts at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That is noon for our East Coast brethren. Ongoing activities will end. You will be returned to the title screen. Preloading for Lightfall will become available. There is of course, if you're on PlayStation, you already know this. You're going to have to download the game twice. I think specifically on PS4. I don't know about PS5.
Gosh, dude, imagine downloading this on PS4 with.
Yeah, so for PS5, you're going to need 102.6 gigs.
Gross.
On Xbox Series X and S, the size of Lightfall will be 108.59 gigabytes.
Oh, double gross.
PlayStation 4, the install size 88.21 gigs, but the storage space needed for preload is 184.64 gigs.
Gosh.
Holy shit, it gets worse, Corey.
Oh,
Steam, install size 102.6 gigs, needed for preload 233.2. Epic Games, basically the exact same thing. Same with the Microsoft Store. And then Xbox One is 89.21 for both. That is fucking wild. When you compare that, the file size for Destiny 1 is 50 gigs on Xbox One.
Yeah.
It's 16 gigs on Xbox 360. That's still here in the exact same thing.
Jeez.
That's wild to think about. So everyone, have fun with that. If you need extra storage, now's the time.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Claim all your rewards, all your triumphs, all your titles. Do not be like me and accidentally forget to take care of your Forerunner seal.
I'm gonna have to delete some stuff off of my Series S and my X right now.
I don't think I need to because it's not too much bigger than it currently is, so I think I'm safe. But I'm going to tell you, there's an issue down here that we're going to talk about that I really need to be fixed.
Oh no.
So I'm not going to be happy if I'm still hitting this in Lightfall. Known issues. Some Xbox players are re-downloading the most recent update on every game launch. The one that takes forever and a day to get to like 50% and then it speeds to the end. That we had to download for the final Seraph mission. I'm getting really fucking tired of seeing that installing Destiny 2 screen every time I log in.
Yeah.
Naturally, I got hit with this right before Lightfall.
Yeah, I got hit with it too. And the odd thing is like I actually was going to address this at the top of the show, and I've totally forgot.
It hasn't done it to me every time. I've logged in 5 times since that mission came out. I've logged in 5 or 6 times. I've gotten hit with it 4 times.
Well, the one time I did it, it loaded me back into the final mission.
I mean, it was so good, they wanted you to do it again.
Apparently, but I already did it. And then it's like, here, do it again. I said, but I don't want to. But I did it anyway.
So. Oh, man. And I think that's going to actually do it for us here. I think that's it.
That's it. Is that really it?
That's really it. That is it for the TWAB today. We do have a quality of life change post, however, from the PlayStation blog. I have not read this, so I'm going to like scan this real fast because I think it talks about build crafting, mod customization. Yeah, oh, it's just about this. Okay, we don't really have to worry about any of this. Loadouts, we've already talked about loadouts plenty on this show. Guardian ranks. Guardian ranks is addressed here. Kind of curious to talk about Guardian ranks a little bit. Let me see if there's anything new. No. We have definitely read exactly what is here in a TWAB before.
Cool.
I'm not even joking. Like, there are word-for-word paragraphs directly from TWABs.
Great. That's what I like to hear.
Fantastic. I love hearing that. Besides, that gives us more time for our final topic tonight. Before we get into listener questions and a final lore corner to cap off the year of Witch Queen.
This is so weird. the
let's talk
last
about
Witch
let's
Queen episode.
let's talk about these seasons for a minute. We've waxed poetic enough on Witch Queen and on the campaign and everything at the end of last year. We're not going to revisit that yet again. It's the best campaign by far. Go play it.
Yeah.
I want to take a minute to talk about seasons. I want to rank the seasons first off. I want to rank the activities from said seasons.
Mm.
And we're going to talk about the loot pools very briefly while we're ranking these seasons. So, as a reminder, we had Season of the Risen, we had Season of the Haunted, we had Season of the Plunder, or Blunder, however you want to look at it, and Season of the Seraph. Out of these four, Corey, how would you rank them from least to best?
Oh man.
I'm putting
So
you on the spot.
I'm actually not that big of a fan of this season's kind of event stuff, but I love the story of this season. I would actually say Risen,
Risen
Seraph.
as the worst.
No, Risen is the best.
Okay, I was saying let's go from worst to best.
Worst to best. All
So
right.
fourth place.
Fourth place would be Haunted.
Okay,
I think.
fair.
Close, very close to Plunder. I actually thought like the beginning of that season was fun and whimsical and kind of like pirates, right? Like that whole
That's
thing
fair.
was like
That's fair.
very cool. And then Seraph, probably the best story out of all the seasons.
Yep.
But I think the best overall season was Risen. I think just the event was, or the events were fun. The story was really fun. The weapons are great. Like overall, I just think Risen is probably the best of the year by far.
Yeah, I'm gonna go in a slightly not too far, slightly different direction. I gotta put Plunder at the bottom.
That's fair.
I gotta do it. It hurts because I was really jazzed for a pirate season, and I still really like Catch Crash. Or I'll get into this more when we rank the activities of the seasons after this. But I just think it had two activities that I think for a lot of people, after you did like a dozen Catch Crashes, you were probably done.
Mm-hmm.
You were probably
That's how
over
I
it.
felt.
The expeditions were fine, but if you were doing it with friends, it was way better than doing it with random groups. I definitely think that was a bit of a problem, but also most of us remember just the absolutely jarring experience that was trying to get that fucking title done.
Yeah.
Well, I still think about ruffians in my nightmares.
Mm.
But for me, it had by far the weakest loot pool. By far. There are
Yeah.
two weapons worth getting out of it that I can think of off the top of my head, and that's Brigand's Law, the sidearm, and Tarnished Metal, the scout rifle.
Yeah.
You can make a case for that stasis shotgun. I actually like that in some situations. The other three weapons utterly and completely forgettable as far as
but I feel like there are better weapons than the best weapons from that season anyway.
There are, but man, that sidearm's pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
I run that thing with Volt Shot, and now I will say though, after getting Ikelos SMG back, that sidearm hasn't been used nearly as much, but that scout rifle is going to get a lot of use going into this next expansion.
Yeah, I kept a scout.
Very, very, very happy for that. And I mean, honestly, the story is the weakest. It's the weakest story of the bunch, far and away.
Which is crazy because it actually had like the most promise of being like continuing Aramis's story, right? Like I actually the promise of that story was cool. Like Spider's still here and rebuilding the Elixir Quarter. Like it had the most promise. It just I don't know what happened.
Yeah, not only that, but I think what we're all going to remember from that isn't just the letdown of the Aramis stuff. It's going to overshadow how much I think a lot of us really like the character of Ido.
Yeah.
And her and Mithrax's interactions by the absolute letdown of the Nezarec plot line.
Oh yeah.
Now I said it then, I'm going to say it again as we head into Lightfall. Things can retroactively be made better. There was a point to the bullshit we did in Worthy, and it didn't play out until Seraph. I would remind us to keep that in mind. That is, like, to me, universally the absolute worst season we've ever gotten of Destiny. I don't count Curse of Osiris as a season, otherwise it'd be up there too. Worthy is definitely the worst thing that we've gotten in, like, modern Destiny 2 since seasons were introduced. Yeah. Hands down the worst thing. And there was still ultimately a slight purpose to what we did. So I would just remind us all to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Specifically the lore that we read about Aramis, or not Aramis, about Mithrax's mother
Yeah.
discovering the lunar pyramid. I would specifically keep that stuff in mind as we approach Lightfall in the final shape.
That lore was cool.
That
That
lore's
lore was
very
awesome.
good. That's low key some of the most important lore we got all year right there.
Yeah, I wonder if that's going to play out this season somewhere, or not this season, but in a season.
I
This,
hope so. I hope it plays out a little bit in Lightfall, because that would redeem that season instantly for me. It wouldn't move it up in my rankings at all, but it would redeem it at least a little bit, I think, in my eyes.
yeah,
3 has to be Haunted. It has to be Haunted. Perhaps the strongest narrative of the year, but is
Mhm.
counterbalanced by the most insufferable activity since Seraph Towers. On the derelict, fuck the derelict Leviathan. This
Oh
is
my
the
gosh,
worst goddamn thing you could have done.
I hate the Leviathan
I
in so many
hate it.
different
I
ways.
already don't like the Leviathan, and this made it even worse.
Yeah, oh,
This was
gross.
terrible. For everybody complaining about Catch Crash, I'd rather go run Catch Crash and Expeditions than do this shit.
Yeah, it was
This was
bad.
terrible. However, I would be remiss if I did. This The story was great. The loot is. I don't think the loot pool is nearly as good as a lot of others think it is. I enjoy that they brought back 6 opulent weapons. Of course, not
Hmm.
2 of them are dungeon weapons, so we're not going to count those. But the 4 opulent weapons they bring back in the season, that was pretty cool. Drang and Callus Mini Tool are awesome.
Yeah,
Those are phenomenal weapons. Beloved, I think, was a weapon that a lot of people were gravitating back to, and then Ikelo's sniper rifle came out, so GG's.
yep.
Um,
Wall.
and Ostringer. Ostringer is the one I thought would get a lot more hype, and it seems like it didn't really get that much. I think it's because like we're not really in a hand cannon meta right now.
Yeah,
The other seasonal weapons, I really like Tears of Contrition. I think that scout rifle is great. I like Nezarec's Whisper, which is the glaive. Big fan of the glaive. I would like to see different perks though. I want that thing to have Volt Shot.
oh god, that thing with Volt Shot would be
With Volt Shot
terrifying.
and with some of the new glaive perks we got this season, I think there's an opportunity for some rerolls there. And God, there was one other weapon from the actual season that I was trying to think of that I can't remember. Um, and then the Sever activities. Yes, it was a little annoying to have to run those every week, but the story we got from those 7 missions was great. I know everybody
Yeah,
had a little bit of crow fatigue during that season because we'd had so much crow over the last year and a half. But seeing him finally face his past as Uldren was special. Seeing
yeah,
Keitel overcome, her nightmare was Gaul, but
right.
then fighting Callus with her was
Hmm.
great.
Yeah, that was cool.
That would strong contender for one of the best missions of the year, right there. By the way, those are the missions we want to see more of. We want to see more stuff like that.
Yeah,
And then of course we have to bring it up. We have to bring up Zavala and his family.
yeah, that was a
Um,
great story.
an extremely touching series of events for one of the more beloved NPCs in Destiny, who really didn't, I don't think, got that status until the last maybe year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah, I would say kind of right after Arrivals, maybe that first season of Beyond Light or second season maybe.
It was chosen. It was
Yeah,
chosen when he was like, "No, we're not bowing down. We're
yeah,
not bowing down to the Cabal. No, we fought to take our city back."
yeah,
And ever since then, he's been so important to the Vanguard, and in these seasons, like he's really become kind of a default seasonal vendor.
yeah,
So I think that's been really special. Um, Second, I've got Risen. Great loot pool, especially for something that came attached to the expansion. 4 week story was so welcome. It was
yeah,
so welcome to get those just a story out of the way in 4 weeks.
yeah,
I like the storyline. I think it was really cool that it was Crow, Saladin, and Keitel who really took the lead in that. And I like the final mission on the moon in particular. The moon psyops is probably my favorite battleground of the whole year because they drop the Cabal commanders in there with you. And that
yeah,
was just really cool to see play out. Again, things that we want to see more of, right? But just the story beats. We've never had a season that's launched with an expansion that's been good. We say all the time how Undying and Hunt are 2 of the 4 weakest seasons in the game.
yeah,
Indisputably, they may be, like, if Worthy didn't exist, they'd indisputably be the 2 worst seasons. So for Risen to then turn around and be so good, I think was a shock to all of us. And honestly, I mean, like the cutscenes, you got the first one, like the campaign directly influences what's happening. It looks like they're doing the same thing with Defiance now and
Yeah.
Lightfall. Um, man, what a shame you're not going to be able to play that story anymore. That's really one of the first seasons where I've been like, damn, I would love to see this story still play out.
Yeah.
I think it's important to understand the position of the Cabal in this war, but also to understand why Saladin goes with Keitel. He forfeits his own life and his freedom as a guardian to serve Keitel to save Crow. And even as early as Season of the Haunted, you can see how deeply that's affecting Crow. I'm excited to see his character grow after this. And I think even Saladin, they found a way to keep his character growing all year past this.
Yeah.
Again, steadily becoming like he was really reintroduced to the narrative with Chosen, and he was just a brutal warlord essentially. Like, no, you're gonna fucking wipe them all out.
Yeah.
And then in this season, he's kind of like, maybe there's a better approach. Maybe there's a different approach, Crow, but you got to be willing to, kill your enemies when you have to. Even though, Crow is wondering, should we be killing these ghosts and like asking these philosophical questions. Like, as a player, you're supposed to put yourself in Crow's shoes, I think.
Yeah.
And for that, he works so effectively as a character, being a vessel for the audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Again, great weapon selection. Peace of Mind dominated all year in the Crucible. I like the Thoughtless Sniper Rifle. I want to say it's Explosive Personality is the breech-loaded grenade launcher from that season. Great grenade launcher. Everybody seems to love it still. The seasonal weapons were kind of goofy this year. The pinnacle ones you could get from the vendors, they were a little goofy. Don't know how I feel about any of those really.
Yeah.
None of them were like, I have to use this, and I felt the same way about the exotics too. To be frank, Grand Overture was really fun. That is a win in this one's column.
Yeah.
Grand Overture was fun. I would honestly even say Trespasser for Haunted should get a check mark next to its name too. Mm-hmm. Less jazzed about Delicate Tomb, and Manticore can just disappear. Which leaves one season as our top season. Call it recency bias, call it whatever you want. Seraph, man. I think Seraph is head and shoulders above what we got the rest of the year. Not that like Haunted's narrative is amazing.
Yeah, but Seraph's
Risen brought it all together. I think it had a good package. It had like a very like A- in all things. The psyops were awesome. They're the best battlegrounds of the year. They're better than the Seraph ones.
Yeah.
Had a great small loot pool, especially for a season tied to a launch. Again, we've never had good weapons from a season at launch, so that was really, really nice. Deafening Whisper is the only thing I can think of in the past that's like been you have to get this.
Oh my gosh, the whole like for somebody who loves auto rifles and pulse rifles, man, Risen.
Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot my MVP of the first half of the year in terms of weapons, Sweet Sorrow.
Yeah.
Oh my god, absolutely an A tier, almost S tier weapon.
Yeah.
Again, I need an updated perk pool. I really want this thing to trigger Jolt. I'd be really excited for that.
Yeah.
And of course, like I said, this is going to bring us to the final thing we have to talk about, which is the current season's Seraph. So this is kind of the Seraph wrap up and it being number one in my rankings. If Risen had anything against it, it's Vox Obscura. The legend Vox Obscura in particular. That is just a horrific mission. Horrific. In every single sense of the word. It's terrible.
It's pretty bad.
That's as bad as it gets. Legend Seraph is as good as it gets.
Yeah.
That is the right balance of challenging and rewarding, I feel. Maybe not having me do it 4 times though for the Catalyst. I still haven't done the 4th times Catalyst because I just don't want to go do this mission on Legend again. But all that aside, I think it's got the second best narrative of the season. Haunted has the best, but you can't in your right mind put Haunted as the top season. It's got a close second in terms of the narrative for me. It's got the right amount of, emotion. Clovis Bray is brought back into the story. He kind of abruptly yeeted away. They don't really use him anymore unless you like go and do a battleground on Europa and he kind of taunts you and Anna a little bit. Bring
Yeah.
Rasputin back. Huge, 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 huge. We mentioned, that
And then
there
the
was a
big
point to
twist.
Season of the Worthy. We were waiting on it. He finally comes back. We hear him talking in English for the first time. He's only ever
Yeah.
talked in Machine and in Russian.
Yeah.
Going back to the Iron Temple to get Fellspring. A very moving moment, I think, for those of us who suffered through the dark years of Destiny 1.
Mm.
Going back to the Iron Temple definitely brought out some emotions.
Yeah, I think you and I differ on Rise of Iron, though. I really
We do.
loved that
I
expansion.
am very much an outlier in the community for how I feel on Rise of Iron. It's been very well documented. I do not think nearly as high of Rise of Iron as everybody else does, and you know what? That's okay.
It's fine.
That's okay. We all have different opinions.
People are allowed to have different opinions.
Yep. God, man, the story is so good. The story is so good, and I mean, the loot pool is arguably the best in the whole year. You've got an awesome. I don't know about awesome. You got a really good linear fusion rifle. Something I did want to highlight for Haunted. I hate to keep backtracking. Bump in the Night, absolutely essential heavy weapon out of Season of the Haunted.
I got one. I
Go
finally
craft
got
that
one.
thing with chill clip and auto loading.
Yep, that's what I got.
Back to Seraph though. I mean, you get the 4 reprised Ikelos weapons, which is great. Ikelos Sniper, SMG, and Shotgun automatically either the best or close to the best in their respective categories for their frames, especially. You get Judgment of Kel'Garath, which is a great glaive. Fire and Forget for a linear fusion rifle. Disparity, which if Peace of Mind hadn't come out, would be a pretty strong contender for best pulse of the year.
Yep.
Best legendary pulse of the year, at least. I think it is still. I mean, it's like my 1B. I think it's the best PvE pulse of the year, personally. Very, very good in both PvE and PvP. Go craft one if you haven't already. This was a really, really, really solid year for weapons overall, and I think this season just ekes it out a little bit over Haunted, which probably had the second best loot pool overall.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that's because of the opulent weapons that are brought back. But I think that the loot pools that you got for Seraph, Haunted, and Risen were all appropriate for where they fell out in the year.
Mm-hmm.
We need to have a talk about Plunder's loot pool, because Plunder's loot pool it's pretty low for me, because not only does it have the least good weapons, it's the smallest loot pool.
Yeah.
Well, so it and Risen have the same loot pool. I should clarify that, but I give Risen slightly more of a pass. 1, because it was a 4-week season, but 2, it came out attached to the Witch Queen. I'm fine with there only being 6 weapons when I had Vox Obscura to go do. I had the full Throne World set of weapons to get. I had the 4 weapons from Wellspring to get and craft. I had 3 exotic glaives. I had my Enigma that I crafted during the campaign. I had the entire Vow of the Disciple suite. I had new weapons in Vanguard, Crucible, and Gambit to go get. I had new Trials weapons. I had so much stuff to go get. I think they replaced the entire world loot pool, by the way, too. At one point, we calculated there were like 50 new weapons to go get before you got to the seasonal stuff. I was okay with that.
Yeah.
Totally okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
I still was going up until like the last week of the season trying to get all of my patterns. I remember actually buying my final machine gun pattern like the first or second week of Haunted.
Yeah.
And Haunted, I think, Haunted and Seraph had appropriate loot pools because, you got 4 reprised weapons and an additional 2 in the dungeons. For whatever reason, they're craftable from Duality, but not from Spire. That's a little weird.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
The excuse you can give Plunder, I guess, is, Kingsfall came back during that. Yeah, but you can go craft those, but those are raid weapons. I feel like raid and dungeon weapons need to stay separate when we're talking about the specific loot pools of the seasons.
Yeah.
And when I look at what else was going on in the game, there's really no excuse for there not to be more weapons. I think that they've set the standard now at least 10 weapons for a regular season. For a non-expansion season, 10 weapons, I think, is now the standard.
Yeah.
And I do think that we need to continue the pattern of 6 brand new weapons, 4 reprised weapons. And then you can have 2 in whatever. If there's a dungeon, you can have 2 there, and maybe there's maybe you can get the other patterns from just playing. Like if you did 2 more during a regular season, during the season that doesn't get the dungeons, maybe you can have 2 that are just You have to do special quests in the seasonal activity or something. I don't know. I'm spitballing here. But I think there's a way to do it. Like, you should be able to do that. There are plenty of foundries you can still pull from. We've been asking for the return of classic Gambit weapons, for the Reckoning weapons, we got the Trials of the Nine weapons back in Prophecy finally.
I really want that Gambit scout rifle back. The shoot, which one is it?
Night Watch?
No, not Night Watch. The other one, the Tex Machina one. Oh man, I forget what it is. I forget what it's called, but I never got a good roll on it. But the weapon is super fun to use.
I can't remember for the life of me what it is.
Yeah, I'll think of it later, I think. But
the other thing I'd like to see is, I mean, we have the Black Armory weapons just chilling there.
Yeah,
I feel like that's got to be addressed sooner rather than later. And even then, you can still pull some of those Chosen and Splicer weapons forward to be craftable.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying I would be jazzed about going and earning those patterns after having great rolls on those weapons already, but I think there's enough that you can do here that you can pull forward. You can pull the Mercury weapons forward, maybe if you do an Osiris themed season. Dawn, the season of Dawn Foundry is just sitting there.
Right, yeah.
They're just sitting there. One of the best weapon suites we've ever gotten in Destiny 2 is just sitting right there, right for the picking. You've got that sitting there. You've got the Arrivals weapons that are just chilling. Right. You've got stuff you can bring forward that have not been accessible in this game feasibly for quite some time.
Yeah.
There's plenty of things you can still pull from, especially if you're going to just maintain this pattern for the next couple of seasons to get us through the final shape. There's plenty you can do there. But Seraph handles everything beautifully, and it's capped off with the best ending mission that we've gotten. We said last week, they've gone 3 for 3 now.
Yeah.
On these ending missions. And they've gotten bigger and better every single year.
Yeah. The ending mission is so good, and the accompanying cutscene is just
heart-wrenching.
It's man, I wish we got. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I love the artistic kind of hand-drawn cutscenes that we get in the seasons and stuff, but I love a good CG cutscene, and Bungie has been doing that forever. They've been doing man, they're so good.
They're so good. They're so good.
Man. Man.
Let's talk about these activities really quickly. I know we just did. Let's rank them real fast. So the activities that we have are the PsyOps Battlegrounds, the Sever missions, the Derelict Leviathan.
Gross.
Catch Crash, Expeditions. I'm not going to put Pirate Hunts in here because this was like super story related, and I don't think they count as an activity, whereas Sever was repeatable.
Yeah.
And Heist Battlegrounds. Those are the ones we're going to go with. So, PsyOps, Heists, Leviathan, Sever, Catch Crash, Expeditions.
I mean, I think the PsyOps Battlegrounds are definitely the best.
Yeah, let's make one thing very clear here. It's a race between the two types of battlegrounds to see what's the best activity.
Yeah. It's like 1A, 1B. Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
For me, the Derelict Leviathan is last.
Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely.
Yeah.
It's not even a question.
Awful. Oh
it's
my gosh,
awful.
dude. No, I remember running those with Mitch, and I'm like, dude, can we please go do something else? You know, like I can't do this anymore. I just can't. I actually really liked Catch Crash. I just wish there was more variety. I might put that at man.
You have to remember, we have Expeditions here.
Yeah, I know. Expeditions were pretty good. I think. I liked them. Man, it might be Catch Crash 3, Expeditions 4 for me. I think. Oh man, yeah, that's where I'm going to rank it right there.
All right, I'm going to fly through this. I've got Leviathan at the bottom.
Yeah, gross.
I've got Expeditions next. I got Catch Crash. And that leaves my final 3 as Sever, Heist Battlegrounds, and I got to go Psyops as the top, of course. I think that's the only real way to like shake this out ultimately. Let's put it this way: there's a reason why those are still going to be in here. There's a reason why those 6 missions are going to go to the Vanguard Ops playlist.
Yeah.
I am a little bit bummed that we're gonna get Battlegrounds again this next season, but I'd rather have that than something like the Leviathan again.
Yeah.
So if this is how we get new activities, especially now that they're able to be Nightfalls, I'm a little less bothered by it, I guess. And it is a way to keep those storylines in the game that are tied so closely to the expansions. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
It still allows you to experience a lot of story, because that's what Vanguard Up should be. They should be building on what you do in the campaigns. I'm okay with it. I wish there was a way for Sever to continue being a thing. I mean, we're getting the Legend mission rotator. Maybe we'll get Sever back in there at some point. I think that's perfectly right as a 3-person activity to put in. Not in the exotic rotator, but maybe you can get like a mission rotator eventually down the line. Even if it takes until the final shape.
Yeah.
Johnny and I have been pushing for years that we need a rotator of 6-man activities that are past activities, such as you can put the Catch Crash in there now. You can put the Sundial in there. You can put the Vex Offensive in there. We can get the Splicer activity. There's no reason why we can't have a 6-man and a 3-man playlist. Like the 3-man playlist, you can put your expunges, you can put your expeditions if you want to. You can put your severs. You can do things like that. There's no reason why we can't have some of these going. Just make it optional content that you don't have to have, but you can download.
Yeah. No, that makes
also
sense.
You can like chuck things like, as much as I don't want to say it, you can put Black Armory Forges back in there and throw,
Yeah, I mean that would make sense. It would give people something else to do, and it would change it up, right? What?
Nope, I had to say it really quietly.
You
can put the menagerie back in.
No, why are you putting that back out in the universe?
I don't like it, but I feel like there would be a march on my house if I didn't. So
get out of here. No, fired.
Yeah, no, I don't want to. You fire me, you're gonna have a rough time doing a show. Corey, what do you say we go to some listener questions? Do we have any more comments on seasons? Do we have any final comments on seasons?
I think overall the seasons were actually pretty good overall. I mean, obviously there are some weak points, but
I will add one final thing. One final thought. You had an exotic mission with Risen. And I don't think Vox Obscura is technically part of Risen. It is part of Risen, but it's not, because like they're going to let everybody have access to it with the Witch Queen trial.
Right.
It really kind of was a teaser for Lightfall in a lot of ways, like way back then.
Yeah.
You have that, and you have obviously Operation Seraph Shield. There's a reason why they're both coming back in a playlist later on this year. There was no exotic mission in Haunted, and there was nothing in Plunder, and I was willing to forgive Haunted because you still had a dungeon exotic you could go get. And I think at a certain point you start running out of ideas on what to do with these exotics, right?
Yeah.
To see the way that Plunder was handled, though, like there wasn't even an exotic quest, is something else that's really frustrating about that season. In a season that already had the smallest loot pool, I think doing a cool exotic would have helped. Or having a mission like it's actually kind of disappointing that you had both Seraph Shield and Spire come out in the same season. Like for story purposes, you had to, but yeah, we got the return of King's Fall, but how many people can't get together a 6-man fire team?
Right.
Or who are, literally too timid to use LFG, and not a knock on those people at all. But like, how many times have we heard that that's an issue? Like, there needed to be more sustenance in that season. So that's it. That's my final thought on seasons. I'm not going to complain about Plunder anymore starting next week. I've still got a little bit of this episode to complain about it.
I don't know. I feel like in like 3 months when we're just BSing because something hasn't happened or might happen or whatever, we're going to BS about Plunder at some point. Remember Plunder? Ugh.
It's not as bad as Worthy, but it's like a bottom 4 season for me.
Yeah.
All All right, Corey, let's hit these questions,
Questions, big questions.
and then let's do the thing. We'll do the final lore corner of the year, and then we'll get on out of here.
Final lore
So,
corner of the year.
oh man. All right. We have a lot of questions tonight, so we're going
I
to fly
know.
through these as quickly as possible. Panda of Chaos writes in and says, if Bungie were to ever bring back strike-specific loot, what loot would you want? One piece of loot per class, so all 3 pieces can drop from one strike boss, or a piece for each class from different strike bosses? Give me 1 piece of loot per class from the same boss.
Yeah, I agree.
It felt real bad doing shit in Destiny 1 where, like, I would get something from the Scion Flayer strike, but my teammates wouldn't.
Mm-hmm. Let me tell you this, okay? Not that it's strike specific, but when you have the lingering awfulness of Fabian strategy as your exotic, you want to not experience anything like that again. So I agree with Josh. Not that that's a strike specific anything, but for those who don't know, that was the Titan specific shotgun, exotic shotgun in Destiny 1, and it was terrible. So
It's a little frustrating. But I like the idea of being able to earn stuff themed to those bosses. I really like that, especially if you're doing reworks for some of these strikes. This would be a great time to implement that.
yeah,
I think there's a
yeah,
lot of
for
cool
sure.
stuff you could do, but like, I mean, for some of these, it may have to be as simple as like class items, and with transmog,
That's
I don't think
fine.
that's a problem.
Right. That's fine too. Actually, you know what? Bring back the exotic class items from Destiny 1. Like find a
Yeah,
way to bring those back and make those
I would like
useful.
that. I would really like that. Um, Knox writes in again. Great name. I'm gonna call this out every time I see it. Knox.
Nox.
Love you, dude. That name of my D&D character.
When I
One
see
of them.
that when I see the term Nox, I think of Ys 9 Monstrum Nox, the RPG. That's all. That was
That
my
is a very deep cut.
It is. It's fine.
Knox writes in and says, I've seen a lot of people recently talking about how a lot of legendary and some exotic primaries don't do enough damage to be effective in high-end PvE content, pointing out autos and pulses in particular. Are you at all worried with the overall nerf to ability uptime coming in Lightfall that most primary options will not be strong enough to be useful in endgame PvE content, with a few exceptions like SMGs and exotic bows? No.
No.
For the reasons we talked about earlier with the ability
Yeah.
uptimes, you were really timely with this
Yeah.
question, actually, because this was
Yeah.
literally like 2 days before we got that blog post.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Significantly less concerned than I was before, but let me tell you something. My SMG was like tickling in a Grandmaster the other night.
Yeah.
So I'm still concerned about good non-exotic weapons. I'm still a little concerned.
What champions don't enjoy a good tickle?
Oh man. We have the first 2 questions from Nitro TJ tonight. There's a witness Among Us. What do you guys think about it? The Among Us Destiny collaboration that is on the Among Us Twitter. I mean, I don't like Destiny crossovers. I think I've been really clear, but if you were going to do one, I feel like this is something that's just like goofy fun.
I mean, this is similar to the Fall Guys one, right? I mean,
Yeah.
in terms of just like how I view it.
Yeah,
Not,
just being goofy. Like, as long as you're
yeah.
not going to go put Among Us cosmetics in the game,
Oh
I
my
guess I'm
gosh, could
okay
you
with it.
imagine? Could you imagine the seasonal cosmetic being just the Among Us bean?
I would
Everybody.
be so mad. Dude, I genuinely think I would riot. I think they're getting a little too loose with the collaborations, though.
Oh man,
The Fall Guys
there's
one
more
made
coming.
sense because that and Fortnite are both owned by Epic. That made sense to me.
Right, but
And
man,
that was to celebrate it coming to the Epic Game Store. And then out of left field, we got Assassin's Creed Valhalla last season. Or
I
this
still
season, I
think
guess.
I still think there's more. I still think there's going to be probably 2 major crossovers this year.
Oh,
And I bet one
easily.
of them.
Easily.
I bet one of them is Horizon. I have a awful feeling that it's Horizon because Burning Shores comes out around the time they're gearing up for a new season,
And they're both owned by
and they're both
Sony
owned by
now.
Sony now. Although I think Horizon's gear, like that kind of gear, looks more like Destiny than something from Assassin's Creed.
I would
But
agree. I would agree with
also,
that. We all know my stance. I hate fun. So Among Us, cool, fine. As long as it doesn't make its way
Josh
into
hates fun.
Destiny, I'm fine. Yeah. If you keep it like Fall Guys, fine. And then Nitro TJ also says, Dr. Pepper is better than Coke, right? No, sir.
Dr. Pepper sucks. I'm sorry.
Dr.
Dr.
Pepper
Pepper's the
was
most overrated.
Dr. Pepper was fine when I was 16.
Dr. Pepper is the
And
most overrated beverage on the planet.
then I developed taste buds in college.
What, for beer and
So
alcohol?
no, I developed that when I was 17. Um I I do not like Dr. Pepper. I legitimately cannot drink it. I'll drink a Pepsi before I drink Dr. Pepper. That's how bad it is.
Mm,
And I hate Pepsi. I went
yeah.
through a phase in my life for like 6 months where I thought Pepsi was great.
I have to say though, I'm a big root beer fan. I enjoy root
Oof.
beer.
Oof. That's rough. That's
But
rough.
not like
About the only thing you could say that would maybe go oof more is if you said you like RC Cola.
no. No. No, not like canned root beer, like real root beer, like
That's
bottled.
fair. That's fair. I've
Not
never been
like
a root beer fan. I take a sip of root beer and I just start literally I'll start burping right away, so I don't like it.
yeah.
And the aftertaste does not leave a good taste in my mouth.
I'm not sitting
Uh,
here cracking open an A&W, you know.
Nitro TJ has a third question that he wrote
Oh
in.
man.
He wrote this in today. He wrote the others in yesterday. He wrote this one in today. Do you guys think the prophecy wall in Vow of the Disciple is correct? This is what I went looking for in general chat earlier. So essentially,
Yeah.
the prophecy wall that you see partway through Vow of the Disciple tells a story. And I'm gonna pull the video up real quick. Where it's not gonna play on here. I'm gonna pull it up real quick just so I can like accurately say what's happening, so we can discuss this.
Yeah, he tagged us in this post, didn't he?
I don't think
My
so,
reference
actually.
for the question for the show tonight.
That's
Oh, there it
why
is.
I had to go looking back for this because we have a great community that wants to discuss everything. Let me play this real quick. Okay, so the the prophecy wall, which you see after the caretaker encounter before the jumping puzzle. Okay, so starting on the first row, it reads out as the Hive and Scorn love the darkness. They worship the Witness. The Pyramid Fleet enter Earth's orbit to stop the Guardians. The Witness communes with the Traveler and drinks its light. The Witness kills blank because there's an
Mm,
empty space there.
yeah.
So Nitro's question is: do we think what do we think of it? What do we think about this?
I mean, it's pretty
Do we think it's correct?
I mean, it's kind of I don't know if you want to say that big Death Star laser coming from the Traveler is the Witness drinking the light.
That would not even be in the top 5 weirdest things I've seen in this universe.
But I think I mean it's a cool theory. I think it's a cool thing. Um
I've heard worse theories.
yeah.
I
I
actually
think
do think that this is pretty accurate.
the more we talk about it, the more I feel like there's something to this.
So let's ask the other question. This kind of lines up with what Nerd Generalist asked us earlier. Does this hint at somebody dying? Does this hint at a major NPC dying?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because I mean, there obviously wouldn't be a symbol for it. What
Yeah.
if the final symbol is revealed? Like, what if it like updates with Lightfall in that raid? I need somebody to go in instead of doing the campaign. I need you to take one for the team and just like speed run Caretaker to go to the wall and see if it's changed. Because what if the final symbol is the tower?
I mean that would
Because tower is one of the symbols.
yeah.
Or what if it's ghost?
Oh no.
It could be
Not
ghost.
Ghost.
There's a few other things.
The more I think about the Ghost image though of him being separated, of
Mhm.
Ghost being separated, and us getting a puka because we know there's a puka lake, right? My idea is by the time the final shape is over, I think we're gonna get a puka and Ghost is I still think the Traveler and the Ghosts are going away at some point. Nolan North can't do
I think
Ghost forever.
canonically our ghost would stick around.
Yeah, maybe.
Just because I mean I struggle to think of anything more iconic to the series than the ghosts.
Yeah,
Like I feel like everyone knows the ghosts.
yeah. By the way, the Generalist Ghosts are back up on Amazon in case anybody wants one. They were sold out for a long time.
Let me get our questions pulled back up here.
Yeah, this video. The more I'm watching
Um
this video, the more I'm like, maybe there's something to this.
Saint 14 writes in and asks us any advice for soon to be dads? Things you didn't know before that you know now. I'm going to defer this one to Corey because I am not a father.
Oh man, let me tell you. Let me tell you. Any advice anybody gives you, just throw right out the window. I don't care if they're your parents. I don't care if they're your brother or sister who already has kids. Throw it out the window. Okay, that's my advice to you. My advice to you also is if you're having a child with male genitalia, cover it up unless you want to see the fountain of youth spray in your face. That's a parenting tip for you. Okay. Um, they actually make these things called PPTPs that I found out about the other day, and they're specifically for that reason. Um, Another thing is prepare to uh, just I would say sleep when you can because you're not going to get a lot of it, and help your partner whenever you can, which I was terrible at in the beginning. So that's my advice to you as well. Um, but yeah, I mean, just it's gonna be scary. It's gonna be messy. Um, Diaper changing is not as bad as people say it is. I think just you're going to be overly protective for a while. That's normal. And yeah, I mean that's the advice I have. I just you know, I should call my wife in here. Wife. Uh, yeah, but parenting is difficult, but it's also like one of the best things I think that's ever happened to me personally as someone who like always said, "Oh, I don't want kids. I'm too selfish and too into my own things to ever have kids." And like when you know kids came out, it kind of changed everything. So
Yeah.
that's my advice.
All right. This has been Parenting with Corey Derrick.
Yeah. Also, uh, be prepared to be 5 to 30 minutes late for everything you plan on doing.
That is like a nightmare for somebody who is a chronic on timer like me.
Yeah.
That is literally like one of my worst fears is not being on time to things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not kidding. I genuinely get low grade panic attacks when I'm late. So thank you for that. Joasis asks us, what do you think the significance of all the broken glass in the Lightfall trailers is? Um,
That fate is unwritten and that we're
there you
going to change our fate. That's already the witness is already designated for us, right? Like for people who like the Matrix, the scene where Neo is like the problem is choice. That's where I think that's where this is going.
I think also there's a couple different meanings I think you can discern from it. I think Corey definitely has the right train of thought. What I thought of when I saw this was I took it as in a literal sense. Maybe he's like breaking out. Maybe he's not like actually in our dimension at the very beginning of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Maybe what we're seeing is an illusion that's being projected.
Yeah.
I would recall the scene from the end of the year mission where Aramis is looking at the computer and she sees the witness in the computer screen and she actually looks over her shoulder quickly to see if he's behind her. Like
Mm-hmm.
she's almost being driven more by the fear of him than actually him.
Oh yeah.
We know
Yeah.
Callus has been reborn by the witness. What if the witness is like trapped in some sort of pocket dimension?
Yeah.
We know there's paracausal powers at work because of Elsie's time travel. What if something happened to the witness to cause him to not be in this dimension currently?
Yeah.
I'm not saying like his universe. Like, what if he's in the literal pocket dimension? Could just project his consciousness into this universe. Maybe
Yeah.
that's what we're seeing here.
I mean, I think that would make sense too, right? I mean, that makes total sense,
The other thing
especially
I would
like.
say is like, what if this is like shattering what we think we know about the nature of light and darkness, of the traveler and the pyramids, the winnower and the gardener. There's
Mm-hmm.
so many duos that you can think that this applies to in the battle between the traveler and the witness,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Shattering the illusion of what we've been built up to think for 8 years could be part of that.
Yeah.
Very excited. We'll have our answer in a couple of days.
We will have
Maybe.
an answer.
And then we have two final questions tonight, both from Zhao Ambrosia.
Yeah.
Since we got the subclass themed armors in Eververse, do you think we'll also get a Strand one?
Yes.
Yes, but we need a Stasis one first.
I think here's
If
my
they ever stop
theory.
doing crossovers, we'll get them.
Here's my theory. We'll get Strand next season as part
Oh
of like
man.
I think it's actually going to probably be part of that the armor that you see in all the trailers and stuff. I think is the Strand armor. Actually,
So that's the expansion armor. That's like the destination set.
yeah. Well, yeah.
I think you're gonna get actual Strand armor with like the armor
You think?
effects going on.
You
Yeah.
think?
If you get that, that's gonna 100% be an Eververse purchase.
Yeah. But my theory is that they're going to actually I think there's enough people out there calling for them to kind of adjust how we get stasis stuff uh to the point where I think they're going to do some sort of rework, and by the third season stasis will be kind of fixed to where you can just get the stuff without having to do all of the extra campaign stuff, and then you'll get it in that third season, I'm predicting,
Mm-hmm.
because I still think there's going to be a crossover season in that second season.
I hope you're wrong.
I kind of am too, but Josh.
I do unfortunately know.
I know.
And then the final question that we get from him is a non-Destiny related question. Top 5 comedies.
Top 5 comedies.
I mean, I'll take. I guess I'll take this one. Uh, I gotta go. Blazing Saddles has got to be in there. I gotta represent Mel Brooks somehow. I've got Back to the Future. Yes, Back to the Future is a comedy. Oh man, this actually may be harder than I thought it was. I'm gonna go 40-Year-Old Virgin.
That's a good one.
It's a fucking great movie. I'm gonna go Forgetting Sarah Marshall. That may be my favorite Jason Segel performance.
I love that movie so much.
Russell Brand and Jason Segel are so ridiculously hilarious in that movie.
Yeah, dude, that movie's awesome.
It was like for like that maybe like 18-month span where we were like, hey, maybe Russell Brand isn't a complete fucking weirdo.
Wow.
Little did we know.
18 months? You're giving him that long?
I'm giving him that long. I'm giving he had us all fooled there for a little bit in America. The UK friends were like, "Oh God, no, we hate this guy." My last one. I mean, it's not like a particularly like notable one, but I really fucking love Dodgeball.
It's also a good one.
I think Dodgeball is low key one of the most underappreciated comedies of like the last 20 years. That movie's 20 years old this year, by the way.
It's gross.
Yeah. Do you feel old? I saw that in the 5th grade.
Dude, I felt old when my nephew said that he was playing a retro game and it was on Xbox 360. Okay.
Ooh, oof. Oof, I felt that in my soul. My my
Halo 3 is
stepsister.
Halo 3
My
is a
stepsister
classic
was like,
game.
"Have you ever played this old game called Skyrim?" And I was like, "Oh,
Oh my god.
oh," because my stepsister was like 4 or 5 when this game came out at best.
Man, this is the second time this week I talked about retro games. Last night we had Ash Said Hi on the Boss Rush podcast, and we were talking about retro games and what defines retro, and then we all figured out that we all just feel old because people younger than us are saying like the Wii is retro and all these consoles.
By like literal definition, that generation is now.
I know.
That pains my soul. I remember when I first realized that Halo 2 was thought of as a retro game, and I was like, oh god. It was like the ultimate the future is now old man moment for me when people considered Halo 2 and 3 to be retro.
I know.
God. Corey, top 5 comedies.
All right, so Anchorman is on that
Oh
list
god,
for me.
Anchorman is so good.
Yep, Anchorman's on that list for me. I actually really love Step Brothers also and the funny thing is I'm not even like a huge Will Ferrell fan. I just really like those two movies specifically. Let's see what else. I was really into Ted for a while. That movie.
Okay, Ted is I can't put Ted on my list, but it's on my most quotable list purely because of the Thunder Buddies song.
Yeah. Yeah, man, Thunder Buddies, that's so funny.
Oh my god, now it's stuck in my head. That's
yep.
It's gonna be great.
Happy Gilmore is on that list for me.
Fair.
And you know what, Josh? Gotta give Mel Brooks some love. Spaceballs.
Yeah, Spaceballs would be my honorable mention. I have two honorable mentions. It's got to be Spaceballs. Again, probably the most quotable comedy of all time for me.
Yeah.
There was a time where I legitimately knew every single joke from that movie by heart.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was like secretly proud of me because he's the one who introduced me to it. My grandparents were less than thrilled that my favorite line from the movie was "fuck, even in the future, nothing works." But also just like the nuances that you pick up every time that you watch it, like
Yeah.
that the Colonel's name is Sanders.
Yeah.
And they
So
look
funny.
at Rick Moranis is this Rick Moranis's best movie?
It's close.
Is that a
It might
fair
be.
question to ask?
I mean, it might be. I mean, what are you gonna pick? Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I'm not a big Ghostbusters guy
He's
though.
not great in Ghostbusters though, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Like you
Ghostbusters.
watch Ghostbusters for Bill Murray.
William Murray.
Yeah, William Henry the Fourth Murray. My other honorable mention would be, I know we just said we're neither one of us are huge fans of Will Ferrell. I got two honorable Will Ferrell mentions, and it's Elf, which is like my favorite Christmas movie ever.
I hate Elf. I
I
hate that movie
fucking
so
love
much.
Elf. You shut your whore mouth.
I know I'm in the minority of that, but I hate that movie.
I love that movie, and I unashamedly love Talladega Nights.
Man,
What a fucking great movie.
Talladega Nights, man.
Oh man, John C. Reilly might secretly be the best part of that movie.
Yeah.
We go together like cocaine and waffles. No.
I like my Jesus in an all angel band. I
I
like my
picture him
Jesus in a tuxedo
with
t-shirt.
angel wings singing lead vocals for Leonard Skinner, and I'm in the front row, hammer drunk. Again, it's one of I'm 12-year-olds, but I'll beat your ass. Chip, I'ma come at you like a spider monkey. Hey
I'm
man, you
all
want to come
hopped
over and
up
play
on
G.I.
Mountain
Joe's?
Dew.
Oh yeah, man, that sounds great. No, you stole my life. It's great. It's
I'm
great.
all hopped up on Mountain Dew.
I'm still sitting in my dirty pee pants. It's great. It's such a juvenile movie, but I think that's part like it's in that era of movies that probably wouldn't get made today.
Oh yeah, probably.
It was like because I mean a Judd Apatow produced movie, like right. That was right around the time that was like him and Adam McKay like made a bunch of movies at the same time that were all similar. Like they did Step Brothers, they did 40-Year-Old Virgin, they did Knocked Up, Anchorman, Talladega Nights. Like all of those all came out around the same time, right?
Right. Yeah.
And it's like I feel like the raunchy movie passed. Like
Yeah.
the last true. Okay, I keep revising my list. I have to kick something off because I have to bring up Judd Apatow's masterpiece. I have not mentioned Pineapple Express, which legitimately might be the single funniest movie of the 21st century.
I have two.
Before we found out James Franco was a sex predator, but it's still a great movie.
Oh man.
Okay, what are your two? And then we're gonna go into lore corner.
Tommy Boy.
Oh, great choice.
Great movie.
Fucking choice.
And Superbad.
Okay, so we have to mention Superbad as part of it. I am not, and I think it's because of when I saw it. Not a huge fan of Superbad. I was right about the target age for it, but it didn't hit with me. The Jump Street reboot did what Superbad did for people who were like 3 years older than me.
Dude, the Jump Street movies are way better than they have any.
Channing Tatum is genuinely fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
And it's when Jonah Hill was still fat.
Yeah. Which made it better.
Great. It's great. The scene of them when they have to try the drugs and it goes "fuck yeah, motherfucker" is great. Dave Franco and Rob Riggle are actually like kind of great, low key.
Oh,
Brie Larson. The first thing I remember seeing Brie Larson in.
Yeah.
Brie Larson is the love interest in this movie.
Yeah.
It's wild. 22 was not nearly as good. I still long for the day that they do the Men in Black crossover that they talked about doing.
Man, that would have been cool.
Could you imagine Tommy Lee Jones having to do a movie with Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill
Oh
in
my god.
character from Jump Street?
Oh my gosh.
Could we have gotten Ice Cube as the head of MIB? Could him and Rip Torn have been in the same room together?
Well, Rip Torn died.
I
So
mean, listen, anything's possible
who's
through
it? Who is
computer
it now?
generation.
It's Liam, or it's what's his face?
Chris Hemsworth?
Uh, God, Qui-Gon Jinn.
Liam Neeson?
Yeah. God,
Ugh.
I almost said Liam Hemsworth. I'm like,
I
that's not right.
never watched the fourth Men in Black, so I can
Me
neither
neither.
confirm nor deny this.
Me neither. But I could totally see Liam Neeson being.
I'd
the
be
head of
okay with that.
MIB.
I would watch that.
Yeah.
Well, Corey, let's do our final lore corner of the year.
Lower corner, everybody.
All right. It's the Spirit of the Warmind. This is I don't think I read this, but I nearly did about 2 months ago. And then I quickly realized that this ship was not in fact in the game. And I'm glad that I didn't read it because Spirit of the Warmind is the ship you get for finishing the end of season mission. So really glad I didn't go spoiling anything here.
Yeah, good job, Josh.
The Warmind is a machine. Even through a holoprojector, Kaido's voice echoes with authority. Zavala can't tell if she's asking a question or making a statement. Yes, Zavala replies as he rises from his desk to look out over the last city. And you entrust it with the command of vast military resources, the Empress continues. Orbital artillery, an arsenal of highly advanced ordnance, coordination of gunship deployments, and forward operating bases. That is what Rasputin was designed to do. Some things cannot be designed. Kaido lowers her eyes. A warrior's spirit is forged by more than strategy and intelligence. One must bleed before spilling another's blood. A true warrior knows that victory comes at a cost, and how much is lost in defeat. She raises her eyes to Zavala again. Do you believe your war mind can understand such things? I do, he replies to his own surprise. He turns away from the window to face the holoprojector. I didn't always trust Rasputin. I used to think we were all numbers in his ledger, nothing more than a cold calculation. Zavala leans against his desk, his eyes sweeping across the myriad scouting reports and communiques littering its circus. But now, I see the enormity of his task, the weight of ensuring humanity's survival, the losses he's suffered himself. Kaido tilts her head. You see a kindred spirit. I see an old warrior doing his best, Zavala admits quietly, and that will always earn my trust. Nothing really like super important here for Lore Corner, right? But
Yeah.
I feel that it's really important for us to read this, knowing that, especially with Rasputin gone, that this is ultimately how Zavala comes to see him. I mean, if we remember back to how he felt about him during Worthy, he didn't trust him to shoot down the Almighty over the city.
Right.
Zavala was trying to enact his own plan. He didn't want to trust Rasputin. And then after that, remember how quickly he did a 180? He was like, nope, he's earned my trust. And consequently, we learned that that's part of why Rasputin is okay with doing the abhorrent imperative about stopping it, is because he's entrusting humanity's protection to the Guardians themselves. The Guardians have finally earned his trust after all these years. This lore piece is kind of a fitting bow on that corner of the Destiny universe.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to dig up a little bit more on the Warmind later on this year, I'm sure, when we do Wrath of the Machine. But for right now, that's as good of a place as any, I think, to leave the story of Rasputin behind.
Yeah. Man,
And with that,
what a
closing
powerful
out-
end to Rasputin.
powerful end to Rasputin. I mean, again, we talk about how good the mission was. Props to the cinematics team and the writing team.
Yeah.
For who scripted this, because damn, it's very, if it's not clear to you already, like, Plunder was an anomaly in terms of the storyline. Even though we still got really good cutscenes there, that's an anomaly in terms of a season. And again, like Worthy, I think there's going to ultimately be a purpose for everything that we saw, no matter how bad, because the lore behind it was still really good.
Mm-hmm.
The lore in these seasons has been super good. Like we've talked about it at length, but you go back even to the storyline in Hunt, like the Wrathborn hunt sucked, but the storyline of getting Crow away from Spider and him embracing the light to the point where he's ready to die if he has to, fighting the Celibate. He's just thankful to have met the Guardian. And seeing how these characters evolve and how these stories play out and stack on top of each other, this is how you do seasonal storytelling. And there's a reason why Destiny does it so much better than any other game that's attempted it. And it's because of the narrative. We may be frustrated with the activities. We may be frustrated with needing to revamp modes. I may sit here and complain about the lack of PvP maps and the lack of care for Gambit and this and that. But damn.
You don't think you don't think they're preparing Crow to die, do you?
No, not at all. If anything, I would almost say that Crow is the one guaranteed to make it out of this saga as the leader of the next generation.
Yeah.
To go through all this, to bring him back, have him come to terms with who he is, and then kill him off would be a shame. It would be a complete character arc, but it would be a damn shame. I honestly think that he's going to have to watch, because he has no connection really to Mara. He's going to have to watch Mara, and I think Mara sacrifices herself to save the Guardians ultimately.
Yeah.
I think Mara's sacrifice is still good. This is my final musings before we get out of here. This episode's already gone very long. What if the Witness kills Mara?
I mean, that would make sense. I feel
I'm
like
going to let everyone sit on that one. I'm going to let everyone sit on it just for right now. I don't want to speculate. We're 5 days away. What if that's who it's talking about? Because she is an entity
that's a phrase you probably shouldn't be using with Mara with our Discord. Sit on it.
I hate you. Corey, please get us out of here.
I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening to this episode of Tower Casuals. Josh, as always, thank you for your time tonight. Where can we find you?
You can find me in the Discord hanging out. Screen name Finn, and you can find me on Twitter at Josh_Finn 2 M's. We'll be doing a lot of Destiny. A lot of Destiny
in the coming weeks, guys. It's time. Prepare for Lightfall, everybody. You can find me at I am Corey HD on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow us at Tower Casuals on all social media platforms. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening. Until next time, we love you. Goodbye.